Welcome back to part 2 of what happens when you try to rush divine timing. So we left off where I am standing in a hotel in Brookline and I'm looking to my right and there's an infographic on the wall that says rooted in Brookline, and Jimmy Eat World's immortal words, "Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride," are playing above the speaker at 11:30 at night. Kind of a weird scenario, but in that moment, I knew that I was exactly where I was meant to be. So what did I do? I let the universe show up for me. In the 6 weeks leading up to Boston, I had tried literally everything to rush the circumstances. I had given it my all to change the circumstances of divine timing and to rush them because I was anxious about the outcome. I didn't doubt that I would find the apartment. I just tried to rush the circumstance because in my mind, I was holding this timeline. I was already like, okay, so right now it's September. And if I see the apartment in September and then I get it in October, that means I'm moving to Boston in the first week of October. And then all of these circumstances of life unfold. All I did was throw myself into an anxious spiral. And anxiety thwarts self-belief. I became so anxious about the outcome that I began to doubt if what I felt that was right and true for me even was right and true for me. So when I got that signal from the universe that I was in the right place at the right time, the next morning I woke up and I just said, all right, tell me what I need to know. And I spent all of my time in Boston being in alignment with myself. I followed what felt right and good for me. And on a Saturday morning when I woke up, I didn't set off with the intention of going to find my apartment. I set off with the intention of going for a walk because it was a really nice day. And when I started walking, my feet were leading me exactly to where I needed to go. I ended up on a street where I had already seen an apartment 2.5 years ago. And 2.5 years ago, I saw this place and it felt like home. It felt safe. It felt expansive. It felt like a place where I could be myself. But this place was in an apartment building that sat on a corner. And I had absolutely never walked down the rest of the block. And all I did was follow what felt right and good. And I straight up walked past that original apartment building, looked at it, thought, does this feel right for me right now? And the answer was no. And I kept walking. And lo and behold, about 4 to 5 blocks down on the right-hand side of the street, there was the house. There it was, and I didn't have a single ounce of anxiety or desperation or fear or excitement. There was none of that. It was just the feeling of pure contentment. It was literally like turning to my right and going, oh, there you are. And I don't have any fears that it's not going to be ready for me when I'm ready for it. Because divine timing doesn't make a mistake. Divine timing shows up exactly when it's meant to. That doesn't mean that it always aligns with when we want it to. God knows that I tried to rush the circumstances over and over and over again, so much so that the universe literally had to thrust me back into alignment. And when it did, when I finally gave up trying to rush the outcome, trying to see the end game, when I finally stayed present, when I finally said, okay, if it's meant for me, it's gonna show up for me. When I finally started practicing what I talk about all the time, and I reminded myself that there's a reason that I believe this, I received exactly what I was meant to when I was meant to. There's no such thing as a mistake when it comes to divine timing. There is no such thing as a mistake. You receive exactly what you're meant to when you're supposed to. And then when you finally receive it, there's no anxiety, there's no desperation, there's no excitement to the point of if you don't get it right now, it's going to be lost. No. You can't lose what's meant for you. It's always going to be ready for you when you are ready for it. Every single thing that you are looking for is right there. It already exists. It's just a matter of time. Don't rush it. Trust that the universe has your back. Trust in what feels right and good for you. And you're going to end up exactly where you're meant to be.